Hey guys, how's it going, and welcome to a new video. So today, Resizable mode was released in Oldschool Runescape, and of course this is a very big update, and it's a very big change to the game and how we experience it. And today I want to show you guys how it affects skilling, because of course I've done quite a lot of skilling in my day, and it actually does have a fairly significant effect on skilling. And I remember back in the day when Resizable came out, you could do a lot of stuff with it related to skilling, and I wanted to see if it was the same way on Oldschool, and it definitely does make some skills easier. So today I'm going to show you guys its effects on woodcutting, fishing, and mining, cooking, and bank skills, and we can just look at it and see how big of a difference it really makes. So Resizable obviously doesn't increase XP rates at all because it hasn't changed game ticks and it hasn't added any new methods or anything like that, but the major difference that it's made is that for a lot of different skills it makes it you have to move your mouse less. So as you can see for fishing right here, this line shows the distance between like the fish that I'm dropping and the fishing spot, so how far I have to move my mouse every time I catch fish and every time I drop them. And just so you guys know, I'm not doing any kind of like fancy fishing right here. I'm just doing 5-tick fishing just to show you guys, because really it's the same way for any type of fishing method. But so that's the distance between the fishing spot and your fish if you're just playing in a regular fixed screen. And this here is the distance if you're playing Resizable and you drag your window down a little bit. This isn't exactly the same size as a fixed screen window. I made it a little bit longer on the bottom just to get the inventory directly next to the fishing spot. But as you can see, you can get your fishing spot right next to your inventory and hardly have to move your mouse like at all to get clicking back on the fishing spot, which just makes fishing a lot easier. It doesn't increase the XP rate at all. I guess it's not a lot easier, but it just makes it so you have to move your mouse less and focus a little bit less, and also your character and everything is a lot larger since it's Resizable and everything is larger. So it just makes it so there's a wider click radius and it's easier. It's a similar situation with woodcutting. It's basically exactly the same. So this is just regular woodcutting with fixed screen window. As you can see, I have to move my mouse fairly far, and that line right there shows the actual distance. And here we go, woodcutting in Resizable. So as you can see, the distance between the log and the tree is a lot less, and the trees are a lot larger, of course, so it makes it a lot easier to train your woodcutting if you're doing it this way. Obviously, once again, not faster experience, as nothing in Resizable is going to be any faster experience necessarily. However, it does just make it so you are less likely to mess up and misclick, and also just makes it a little bit easier because you have to move your mouth less far. Alright, so the next skill is mining, and I think this is probably the one that it's nicest for. So when you're training mining, you have to move your mouse pretty far, and you have to get a pretty small click area, and also you have to be doing some intense mouse keys in between. So mining is a very click intensive skill, and having Resizable makes it a lot nicer. So as you can see right here, the line between your rocks that you're dropping and the rocks that you're mining is pretty far distance. I think it's further than any of the other two, to be honest. And as you can see, if we switch over to Resizable, yeah, it's a lot less far. With Resizable, it makes a really big difference for mining. You can see the distance is probably less than half, so it's really, really nice for mining. I guess the main drawback to Resizable is that, especially for people that don't have great computers, such as myself, the FPS definitely drops, and it's noticeable in some situations. But woodcutting, fishing, and mining are the three major ones that it has fairly significant effects on. Just makes it easier to train. I'm not really too bothered by this because it's not faster experience, it's just a little bit, it's kind of quality of life, and I like the fact that you can play it full screen now and stuff like that too. It's pretty cool. But there are a few other small things that you may think of less so than these three skills that also actually have a fairly nice effect. So what I'm doing right here is just some 2.5-tick cooking. So this is a pretty old-fashioned, it's kind of antiquated at this point of a method. It's just a way to cook sharks a little bit faster, and you can do it with any other fish also. But this is just kind of some standard cooking in a fixed window, and I'll show you guys some of the things you can do in a Resizable window with cooking. So first thing you'll probably notice is that the fire is a lot closer to your inventory, as is, same way with the resource spots with the other skills. So that makes it so you have to move your mouse a little bit less far, and the fire is also larger, which means larger click radius. So this doesn't really make a big difference for just 2.5-tick sharks, but it is a little bit nicer, I would say. It just means less mouse movement and larger areas to put your mouse. However, so the cooking method I'm doing right here is 1-tick harambe ones, and previously this was basically impossible to do with any consistency without using AHK. And as you can see here, it's actually quite possible to do this without any AHK, just with your mouse. And this is a method that you can use to get like over 1 million cooking XP per hour. So this was obviously possible before. A lot of people did this with AHK, but even with AHK, it's a lot of it's just like spam clicking keys on your keyboard, and it's still not something I probably would want to do for very long. But it is definitely a viable method now without mouse keys or AHK or anything like that, which is pretty cool. So it does actually have a pretty big effect on cooking, and yeah, just the massively decreased distance between all the interfaces and stuff makes it much more viable of a method. And the last thing I want to show today is just any type of banking skill. So this is the same exact thing for, say, fletching, herb lore, crafting, smithing, kind of, but basically any skill while you're using the bank. It just has it moves things around a little bit if you switch to Resizable. So this is what it looks like if you're just playing in regular fixed window. I'm sure many of you guys have spent lots of time doing skills like this, and if we switch over to Resizable, this is what crafting looks like in Resizable. So it's a pretty similar situation. I would say the only real difference here is that the bank is a little bit further down, or I guess your inventory is a little further up or something, I don't know. In relation to each other, the inventories and banks have moved a little bit. So you'll notice that if I click the bank here in just a second, the deposit all button is like right above the bank itself, so that makes it so you have to move your mouse like a little bit less, but honestly it doesn't really make much of a difference at all for bank skills, but I figured I would test it out just to see what it looks like. But yeah, that's the last thing I really want to show you guys today. The only other thing I want to quickly mention is that I did try with agility, and I would say agility is the only skill where Resizable is actually worse, because with agility you want to have use of the entire game window in order to be able to do the entire course without rotating your camera at all. And with what Resizable does is it enlarges the game window because it takes up the entire window, including like all the interfaces. So if you have it like see-through, then it makes everything larger, which is nice for some things, but for agility it makes it so that you have to rotate your camera more unless you're playing in a really large window, because your interfaces are blocking some of the areas that would previously not be blocked if you had it on fixed mode. So for agility I would honestly say fixed is better. But for pretty much anything else, I would say Resizable is better. But overall, Resizable is a really cool update, and it's going to open up a lot of new doors for different things. But these are just a few things I wanted to show you guys today. So hopefully you guys found this video interesting. Definitely drop a like if you did, and drop any comments and questions in the comment section below. And I'd love to see or read, hear whatever you guys have thought of as far as different methods that might be changed somewhat by Resizable mode. So thanks for watching today, guys, and I will see you all soon with more videos.